First and foremost, introduce yourself.
Aaron Miller from Evansville, Indiana.
All right, Aaron, got the Cardinals gear going, ready for the big game against the Dodgers tonight?
Yeah, this works out just right. So this goes from 6 to 8. The game starts tonight at 8, so it'll be a good back-to-back, nothing but sports.
All right, you get to enjoy Coors Light while watching the game at Beef O Brady's. Can't beat that, right?
Never.
All right, Aaron, what did you want to ask Coach Mullins today?
Well, you've got a lot of guys in for camp that were signed and a bunch that were invited in. What is usually your philosophy for inviting guys in? What are you looking for?
Well, I think that it's like we alluded to earlier. There's a certain style and an identity that I want our hockey team to have, and so there's those characteristics that can play within that style and be successful in that style are really important in your player selection. And again, I think competitiveness and a history of competitiveness are a couple of the big things, along with the game's played at a fast pace, and you have to be able to skate, you have to be able to keep up, and I think that again, that's another high quality that that we look for and recruited around. And again, I feel really good about the group as a whole right now. And again, there's a wave of players that we haven't seen yet, but those guys are all either in the NHL training camps or American League training camps, and they're not there by accident either. They're quality players and good players that will only give us more depth and more hard decisions to have to make here in the coming 3-4 days.
And does your coaching style change between preseason and season, or what is there any difference between how you manage the guys as far as between those two?
Well, I think that you really have to try to find a balance, not only in the training camp, but also through preseason. You want to give your team some structure, and you want to give them some guidance on how you want to see our team play, but at the same time, you don't want to overload them with too much information, because then they start to think too much, and when they think, there's hesitation, and when there's hesitation, we're not quick, and it just kind of cycles like that. So I really want the players to feel relaxed. I want them to feel like they're going to get a great opportunity to compete for a spot. At the same time, there's some core values that I think we're looking to see, and you want to make those clear, and we've made those clear early on in the first 2 days anyway. And again, I think leading into the exhibition, it's trying to put players in a competitive environment that you don't really know or you aren't really familiar with. There's certain players on this team already that I know how they're going to be under pressure, and I know how they're going to be when the game really counts. So it's really a great time, I feel, for us to be able to get a handle on some new players that we don't really know, or maybe some of the players that have been here in the past that I'm not overly familiar with, or I haven't been able to see much in in some of the pre-scouting tapes and things that I watched over the course of the summer.
All right, more questions for Coach? Come on up, don't be shy. Come on, someone's got to have a question for him.
How you doing? A couple questions.
Yep.
You come to an organization that's kind of was in flux. We've been through some coaches and stuff. What really drew you to this position as opposed to others?
Well, I don't really understand the influx part. I mean, this organization in the hockey world has a fantastic reputation of professionalism. It has solid ownership. It has a solid fan base. It has one of the premier places and venues for players to train and to play out of, and the list goes on. And so, there's a lot of factors that can be circumstantial into what happens on the ice and the success on the ice. But this organization and its identity within the hockey world is a very sought-after place to not only be a player in, but also to be a part of a staff or to be able to coach, and I feel real privileged. I mean, To have the amenities and to have the support that this organization gives me as a coach is a lot more than I've seen or been a part of in some different places in the past.
What made you become a coach?
Thanks. Well, and a lot of that is attributed to you as well. I mean, the fan base here, and again, I was on the visitors' side of things, which again can be equally as fun. But you know, to be able to have our players perform and to be able to play in front of a lot of passionate people, it's really energizing. It's why a lot of these guys play. Why I became a coach, I think that first of all, I love sports to begin with, and hockey's my passion and my love. And when things were very clear at the end of the day that I wasn't going to be able to go any further as a player, you know, coaching seemed like the next natural progression for me. Along with that, I think that there's always been a desire for me to want to teach, and I think that those two things kind of go hand in hand. And I think that you know, some of that is maybe a strength of mine, but at the same time too, being able to get opportunities to coach is very rare. It's very hard. If you think about it, there's only 26 teams, and so that means there's only 26 guys that get to be coaches at this level, and I'm privileged to be able to call myself one.
You have somebody on your staff that we're pretty familiar with. I was wondering if you give us a quick synopsis. How's he doing?
Well, you know, I really struggled with Josh's decision over the summer because I love him as a player, and I know that there's a big, huge hole that we have to fill in his absence. But at the same time, it's been a real privilege to have him, you know, take the step out of the game. And I'm really, there's a lot of parallels to his career and the kind of player that he was and what his aspirations are to the same types of things that I went through, you know, 15, 20 years ago. And so I think that our relationship has really got off to a great start and a very easy start from that standpoint. Josh's character speaks for itself, and the coaching part will only grow into that character as he gains more and more experience and is able to separate himself from the playing mentality to the coaching mentality, and that takes a little bit of an adjustment, and it's not always easy either. But you know, I'm real privileged to be able to have him you know, help and have his input in a lot of ways, whether it's the players or how we're going to play, or even just to be in the city. I mean, he's put a lot into this organization, and for him to be involved and to help make this next step for him too is a great opportunity.
Glad to have you, and we'll see you in Fort Wayne.
Thank you.
All right, I think Coach has said it all right there. Anyone else going once, twice? Sold. All right, Coach Mullins, thank you so much for joining us here on IceMen Live at Beef O Brady's, presented by Coors Light. We will take another break.